Alright, I want to show you something that's coming up. I did a couple more pancake motor rebuilds. This here is a Bachmann F9. And so my little girl comes to me and says, "Daddy, you should hydro dip some of your trains." I'm like, "Hydro dip? What's that?" So she showed me a couple of YouTube videos on hydro dipping. And I, can't say no, of course. So went over to the junk pile in the junkyard, and I picked two F9s that had been stripped of paint. And this is what hydro dip is. And I let her do it, and I made a video of it, which I will, once I get farther along in the process, I'll edit those together so you can see this process. But this is how it turned out. Kind of interesting. Basically, we took a tub of water and we sprayed some spray paint in there in some patterns, and then she dips it in the water and pulls it out, and you come out with this. And there's two of them, and they are totally different. They're completely unique with the same colors. And I thought, well, why not? I wasn't really going to do anything with these anyways. So I said, why not? And then, as long as I was going to do it, I said, oh, I might as well make it as good as I can make it. So I went ahead and did another rebuild. And there it is. Okay, look how clean that is. Nice, clean wiring. Motor totally torn down and rebuilt. And properly lubed. Wheels gauged. Wheel sets polished. I put Oxguard on the wheel sets. And the interesting thing about these Bachmanns, okay, so here's one. Here is an earlier model of that, and you can tell because it's got this one giant cast weight in it. Now, let's get down closer and have a look at the trucks on these, if we can see that. If we can see the trucks. I'm only pointing this out because those trucks are not that bad. They're actually pretty decent. And there was a time, towards the end of the pancake era, the trucks started getting really pretty good, I'd have to say. I mean, the brake cylinders here, they are like an add-on piece on these. Like an add-on. The hanger is not, but the cylinders are. And I want to see, what can I do with this? How good can I make this? Like all the other ones I've done, how good can I make it? Since I've done enough of them now, and because of the F-unit body, you can really do some really cool wiring. So I've got a nice long PC board that I made here. Just a copper-clad piece of copper-clad PC board where I cut a strip down the middle. So basically it's like two wires. In fact, some of the Bachmann Lifelikes, you'll notice they have their own PC board that runs across the top for wiring. Basically, that's what it is. And if you remember when I did that GP38 and GP50, I wired them together and their performance was off the charts. I mean, literally, it made a difference of night and day. I'm going to do that with these two. Since they're going to be a match set, I'm going to do that with these two. But let's take a look at a little bit of performance on these. Because these are, I would say these in, as far as pancake motor quality goes, they were probably the most well done. Towards the end of the era. Other than this cast weight here, I'm not sure about that, because if it was really old, it would have the different side frame. And these are the one piece. You know what? And these side frames will fit newer Bachmanns. The ones that had the one piece where this whole thing comes off, they will fit those. Okay, let's take a look at this thing. Okay, at about 20% power, so we're looking at somewhere around a little less than 3 volts. We're coming in with decent slow speed. I can go a little slower than this too. And we can get these things creep along. Going into the 15-inch radius. Not a problem for these, as you would expect. So get them down a little under 20% power, and you can get super creeping speed. But the other thing, oh yeah, that's what I want to tell you. Okay, the other thing about these, okay, unlike earlier pancake motors, they have wipers on both sides, and in the front, even though one axle's got traction tires on it, it still wipes both sides, both wheels on both sides. So this has all-wheel pickup, which is pretty great, considering that when we did the 38 and the 50, one of them only had one pickup from one. In fact, both of them had only pickup from one truck, and these pick up from all sides, which is it's really good. Now I use the red lithium grease, and you have to run these motors after you do that to get them broke in, because the other one, I smoked it a little bit on this track. I mean, I put out some hefty smoke. It still works. I just had to hold it for a minute and let it work the grease in. Because that red lithium at first is a little on the stiff side until it gets all worked in around, and then it's fantastic. And it's really good stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and use those 2-pin connectors. I'm going to connect these two together so they share power. Which, if you remember right, on the other ones, it dropped the slow speed in half. And together, these two motors, it kind of had some cool sound effect. Just like it is without the shell. I know a lot of you don't like that sound. But I'll tell you what, it can grow on you as far as sound goes. Especially when they're connected together. And then in the cab, or in the shell, I am going to add some special sound features. I'm not talking about a sound card. I've got a book on acoustic, how do you say that? Architecture of acoustics. And I learned a lot from it, and I'm confident I can make, because this is an F unit, it's got a ton of room in this cab here, I can make the same features that you would find in a recording studio in this little space in miniature, and I think it's going to change the sound in a very interesting way. And then the two will be connected together by a 2-pin connector, and it should be great. You know, you can't disappoint your little girl. If she says, Daddy, you got to hydro dip some trains, you have to do it, and you really got to go all in on them, and so that she really likes them. And so far, she did this paint job. It's kind of cool. Hydro dipping is very interesting. No, I'm not going to have a huge fleet of them, but I am going to have a few. And I've got more F units on the junk pile to add more hydro dipping whenever she wants. Obviously, we have no shortage of locomotives around here. There are roughly, these are the ones that are not in the junkyard. There's about 300 projects that are not in the junkyard, and another 50 or 60 on the workbench. Alrighty.